Right, hello grade 10s. Welcome to our mathematics lesson. I'm Skulile Ncube. This lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education. Grade 10s, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be with you today. We're going to have our lesson. This is where we can gain a lot of marks. From the previous lesson and today's lesson is easy topics, grade 10s. Let's get all the marks from this topic, which is statistics. Okay, and then today we're going to look at what? The measures of spread. The measures of spread. Remember, statistics will give you roughly 15%. That is 15 marks out of a paper that is 100. It's got 100 marks. So, in the previous lesson, what did we do? Do you remember what we did in the previous lesson? We're looking at the measures of what? Measures of central tendency. Okay, in the previous lesson, we looked at the measures of central tendency, and then we looked at the mean, we looked at the median, and we looked at the mode. Today, we're going to learn about the measures of spread. Let's be ready for our lesson, grade 10s. Let's take out our books. Make sure that your book is there on your desk, your pencil, your pen, and your calculator. Let's just do that and be ready for the lesson. Let's be ready. Right, let's look at the objectives. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to what? We're going to summarize data using the 5-number summary. Sounds complicated, 5-number summary. But you will see, it's easy stuff. You will see, easy stuff. Just 5 numbers. Okay, very, very easy. So we're going to get all the marks from this topic, all of them. If it's statistics, we're getting all the marks because it's very, very easy. Right, and then we're going to sketch and interpret the box and whisker diagram or box and whisker plot. You know what whiskers are? You know a cat has got whiskers. You see, it has got whiskers. So this diagram will look like it's having a box and whiskers. We're going to see that. Okay, and then examination guidelines, page 7. That's where we get our guidelines there. And then we have done statistics, grade 10s. We have done statistics even from primary school. We've been doing frequency tables and bar graphs and all those things. We've been doing statistics. So we're going to use what we have learned in the previous grades. And then measures of central tendency. Okay, but today we're going to concentrate on one of them, which is the median, because it is there in the box and whisker. Okay, we're not going to talk about the mean and the mode, but the median will also appear because we're going to talk about the box and whisker. And then the range, also we have done these topics in the previous lesson. So we're going to use that in today's lesson. Okay, right. Now, before we move any further, grade 10s, I would like to give you an activity. That's what we do most of the times because we want to see if you remember what you learned in the previous lesson and also linking us to what we are going to do today. Now, I want us to try these 4 questions and I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Let's try 4 minutes, and then after that, we're going to mark our work. Let's try these 4 questions. Right, well done, grade 10s. Let's see if you managed to do something. Let me remind you about the following. Our WhatsApp line is 064 748 8913. What do you send? You send your questions, you send us your work, and you send us your input. Let's say if you need more time, you just send us that, and then we're going to what? We're going to change accordingly. Right, remember that our WhatsApp line 064 748 8913. I have a team of teachers this side who are willing to assist you. Even in the classroom there, for our colleagues in the classroom, you can also get assistance. And then also from me here, I'm going to be guiding you during this lesson. Okay, I'm not alone. I'm just the leader of the lesson, but all of us are involved. Okay, right. So given the following data, what is the minimum value? What is the minimum value? Right, let's mark that. Let's mark that. What is the minimum value? The lowest value is 1. Okay, let's say these are marks. Okay, maybe there's a test that was given to learners and then it was out of 25. It means the lowest mark there is 1. What is the maximum value? The highest mark is going to be 22. Okay, that's the highest mark. Can you mark that? And mark that. Okay, did you get that? Right, what was the next question? Right, determine the median of the data set. What is the median? Let's check, are these numbers arranged? Yes, they are arranged. How many are they? How many of them? Do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 numbers. 11 numbers. So it means now we need to find the position of the median. We need to find the position of the median. What did you say? There is a formula that we use to find the position of the median. What is that formula? Anyone who remembers? You can tell ma'am or say in the classroom there, how do we find the position of the median? We say n plus 1, and then we divide that by 2. And then n is the number of items. Do you remember that? So you can have the formula like this. Okay, half of n plus 1. Or you can say n plus 1. In this case, it's going to be 11 plus 1, which is 12. And then divided by 2. N plus 1 divided by 2 is 6. So it means our median is in the 6th position. Don't make that mistake, grade 10s, whereby you find the position and you make it your median. No. 6 is not the median. The median is in the 6th position. So let's go back to our data set and check the item which is on the what? 6th position. Let's check the mark which is on the 6th position. Which mark is that? Is mark 9. Okay, mark 9. Let's see. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this side. Do you see that 9 is in the middle? So that is our median. Okay, so now the median is 9. Okay, 5 numbers below it, 5 numbers above it. The median divides the data set into 2 equal parts. 50% below the median, 50% above the median. Okay, right, let's move on to the next question. What is the difference, the mathematical difference? What is the mathematical difference? Remember, when we are subtracting, we get the difference. When you're adding, you get the sum. When you're multiplying, you get the product. And then when you're dividing, you get the quotient. Okay, so now want the difference between the maximum and the minimum value. It means we have to subtract. This difference, let me just tell you, is still under baseline activity, but let me tell you this. This difference has a special name. The difference between what? The maximum and the minimum value has a special name. Anyone who knows what this name is? Anyone, please, just raise your hand. Memo say they will pick you, and then you say the answer. Right, anyone who knows the special name for this difference? Maximum number or maximum value minus the minimum value. What special name is this? Anyone who knows that? Okay, very good. Did you say range? Yes, this is the range. When you subtract the maximum, okay, or subtract the minimum from the maximum, you're getting the range. Anyone can get that. Grade 10s, anyone. Let's get our marks when it comes to the mean. Let's get our marks when it comes to the mode. Get our mark when it comes to the median. And now we have got another mark that is coming from the range. Very easy. Okay? Right. If there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask us, please. Ask us now. Don't wait and say you are going to ask at the end of the lesson. No, 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 no. Oh, I don't want you to be lost at the beginning of the lesson, because if you are lost at the beginning of the lesson, then throughout the whole lesson you'll be confused and then you get frustrated. I don't want frustrated learners, and also I want learners who participate. Okay? Let's participate, learners. This is your lesson. This is your lesson. Okay? Right. Don't be quiet. I don't like a quiet class. I want people to be free. Feel free to ask questions. Ask questions. Feel free. Okay? We'll be very, very happy to get your questions. Right. And then the following diagrams show sections of end of year reports. I think you're familiar with this. You have seen your reports. Right. Your subjects may be different, but these are the 7 subjects that Lerato is doing and also John is doing. They are doing the same subjects. That is isiZulu home language, English first additional language, life orientation, mathematics, physical sciences, life sciences, and geography. Okay, they are doing the same subject. We are going to concentrate on one average, which is the median. Okay, so we're going to find the median for Lerato and then find the median for John. Remember, we're not doing what? We're not doing measure of central tendency today, but I want you to check something. I want you to observe something. That's why I'm bringing in the median. Okay, right. Now, let's try this. I want you to calculate the median for the 2 reports. Let's start with Lerato. Let's calculate the median mark for Lerato. Let's try that. Okay, how many minutes do you need there? 2 minutes. Let's try. Welcome back, grade 10s. Let's see if you managed to do the right thing. We want to find the median mark for Lerato. Let's see. Right, I know there's someone who did not what? Arrange the numbers. It's a common mistake. I've been dealing with learners for a long time. I know every time learners forget to arrange the numbers in an ascending order. Okay, now I've given you these numbers in an ascending order. Don't forget to arrange your numbers in an ascending order. So what I want you to do now, I'm going to give you another minute for those who had not what? Arranged their numbers. You should have arranged your numbers, but you're not getting a mark for that. Those who had arranged, you have your mark. If you arranged, mark your work. Okay? Right, I'm going to give you 1 minute. Now, rearrange your numbers in an ascending order. Okay? And then you find the median. Let's try that. 1 minute. Right. Welcome back, grade 10s. Let's see if you manage to get your median. Let's see if you manage to get the median here. Right, the median, we say half of n plus 1. Our n, how many subjects? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subjects. So our n is 7. What is half of 7 plus 1? Half of 8 is 4. So it means the median mark is the fourth mark. Okay, so which one is the fourth mark here? It is 65. So the median mark is 65%. So now we have a picture of the marks for Lerato being clustered around what? Around 65%. What is Lerato's average? 65%. Okay, don't forget that. Lerato's average, 65%. Let's go to John's marks now. Okay, I want you to find the median for John now. Let's do everything. Don't make a mistake now. If you made a mistake in the previous one, everything must be correct now. Let's try that. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Welcome back, grade 10s. Let's see if you manage to get the correct answer. Right, we arrange our numbers. Did you do that? Okay. And then did you find the correct position? Okay, n plus 1, then divided by 2. And then we got that it's the fourth position. And then which mark is in the fourth position is 65%. Okay, right, let's check that. So now, grade 10s. The average for Lerato is 65%. The average, remember the median is also an average. So the average for John is 65%. Who performed better? Who performed better? Can we conclude and say these two learners performed in the same way? Is it enough? Do we have enough information to say that these two learners have performed in the same way? Okay, that is our main reason now we're doing the measures of spread today. Because with measures of central tendency alone, we cannot conclude, we cannot summarize data. Yes, we can summarize data, but it is not enough. It is not enough. So I'm saying now, are measures of central tendency enough to summarize data? No, they are not enough. Because there are differences that we are going to see. We are going to look at the marks for Lerato and then the marks for John. We are going to see differences if you look at the measures of spread. But what did the median give us? It gave us the same thing, 65% for Lerato, 65% for John. But now let's scrutinize Let's go deep and look at the marks themselves and look at the measures of spread, and we will see the difference. Okay, let's do that. Now, calculate the range for the two sets of data. We talked about the range when you're doing the baseline. Okay, so today I'm giving you a lot of work, learners. I'm going to give you a lot of work. We're moving very slow. Okay, the lesson is not long, and these are easy things that we need to get all the marks from. So let's move together. And the other thing is too quiet today. I don't know if you're understanding everything. If you're understanding everything, then send us your work. Okay, if you've got questions, send us your questions. Okay, we don't like to have a quiet classroom. Okay, let's send us work, send us questions, let's interact. Right, now, I want you to find the range for Lerato. Range is a measure of spread. Okay, right, we're going to talk about range today, and the interquartile range and the semi-interquartile range. As you move on to grade 11, you're going to look at the other things also. Okay, right. So now I want you to find the range for Lerato and the range for John. I think 1 minute is enough. 1 minute is enough. So I'm going to give you 1 minute. Right, welcome back, grade 10. Let's see if you managed to get the right answers. For Lerato, what did you say? 85 minus 35, 50%. The range here, it means it's 50%. The difference between the lowest mark and the highest mark is 50%. Okay, and then for John, the range is 9%. The difference between the lowest mark for John and the highest mark for John is 9%. Do you see the difference now? Now, who has performed better? If you look at these ones, their averages, their median is 65%. 65% for Lerato, 65% for John. But now the range for Lerato is 50%, and then the range for John is 9%. What is the meaning of that? Okay, let's look at that. Now, if the value of dispersion, the measures of spread, they are referred to as the measures of dispersion. How spread out the data is. How spread out the data is. That's why you call them the measures of spread or the measures of dispersion. Right, if the dispersion value is large, data items are widely spread around the measures of central tendency. If the measure of dispersion is large, the data items are widely spread out around what? Around the measure of central tendency. Like this one for Lerato. Our measure of central tendency is the median, which is 65%. Right? Median is Q2. We're going to talk about that one. So now, if you check, this is our median. And then the lowest then is 35%. Okay? The minimum. And then the maximum is what? 85%. Do you see that there's a big difference between the lowest and the maximum? Okay, so the data items are widely spread out around the measure of central tendency, which is the median in this case. Okay, so the measure of spread is larger. But if we look at what? At John's marks, right? If the value of dispersion is small, the data items are closely spread around the measure of central tendency. Closely spread. The previous one said widely spread. So now, if you look for the marks for John, the average is 65%, the median is 65% there, and then the lowest is what? Is 59%. Okay, that's the minimum. And then the maximum is, what is it? Okay, 68%. You see that? Right, 68%. So now, if you check, the difference there between the minimum and the maximum is very, very small. You see that? So it means all the marks for John are clustered around the 65%. So there's no mark or a mark that is below 59% for John. But if you check for Lorato, there's a subject where she got 35%. And then let's say it's university now. University, they want level 4. For most of the subjects, level 4. Lorato has got level what? This is level what? Level 2. You see that? So now John is level 4 and level 5. So we can see that John has performed better. Do you see that? But with the measure of central tendency alone, the median alone, we're going to conclude and say, these learners got the same average. Let's give them, if it was a prize, we give them both. But now if you check here, John has performed better. There's no subject which is below 50%. You see that? So we can interpret data. We can summarize data better if we have both the measures of central tendency and the measures of spread. We need both of these measures. Measures of central tendency and measures of spread for us to summarize, to have a good idea about data set. Okay? Right. That's what I wanted you to know. Now, I want us to look at something else. It may be a new concept, which is the quartiles. Okay, quartiles. What is a quarter? When I'm saying this is a quarter, what does it mean? It's a quarter of a year. A quarter, when you're buying the bunny chow, you say it's a quarter. Why is it called a quarter? Because the bread is divided into 4 equal parts. You see that? So now a quarter means you are dividing something into what? 4 equal parts. Our terms are roughly a quarter of a year because we have divided our year into 4 terms, something like that. Do you see that? So now a quarter means the data set is divided into 4 equal parts. Okay? Right. Now, we have what we call the lower quartile. Lower quartile, Q1. We have talked about the Q2. What is Q2? Can you give us the answer there? Just say it verbally. What is Q2? Anyone who remembers what Q2 is? Q2 is the median. So I'm not going to repeat that. Q2 is the median. We have talked about it. Okay? It divides the data set into 2 equal parts. 50% below it, 50% above it. So that's the median. And then Q1 is the lower quartile. Please send us your questions. If there's something you don't understand, send us questions. And then Q2 is the median and Q3 is the upper quartile. So there are 2 things that I've introduced here, maybe that may be new. The lower quartile, which is Q1, and the upper quartile, which is what? Which is Q3. And if you check these things, we have done our 5-number summary. When I introduced the lesson, we said we're going to learn about the 5-number summary, and they said it sounds complicated. This is where we get our 5-number summary. Let's name them. We have the minimum value. We have talked about it. And then we have the maximum value. There are 2 things, easy things. So we have the minimum value, maximum value, 2 items. Lower quartile, 3rd one. Median, which is the 2nd quartile, 4th one. And then Q3, upper quartile, 5th one. This is our 5-number summary. Minimum value, let me name them according to, as they increase. Minimum value, followed by the lower quartile, followed by the median, followed by the upper quartile, and then lastly, the maximum value, 5-number summary. Okay, right. Now, how do we find the lower quartile? How do we find the upper quartile? We know how to find the median. We say n plus 1 divided by 2. That's how we find the position of the median. How do we find the position of the lower quartile? How do we find the position of the upper quartile? Okay, right. This is what you do. The lower quartile is 1/4 of n plus 1. Or you can say this is equals to n plus 1 divided by 4. And then n is the number of data items. If it's 7 subjects, our n is 7. And then the upper quartile is 3 quarters of n plus 1, or you can write it as 3n plus 1 divided by 4. You're finding the position of the lower quartile and the position of the upper quartile. Okay? Right. Now, I want us to try this. Using the repose for Lerato and John is an activity. Okay, let's go back. I want you to write this. The position, quartile 1 position, write the formula. Upper quartile position, write the formula. Let's just do that for 30 seconds. Write the two. The formula for finding the position of quartile 1, the formula for finding the position of quartile 3. Just 30 seconds. Let's try that. Right, well done, Cretans. Let's see if we can apply what those two, and then also the other one for median, we can apply those to find the position of those. Now I want you to write the following. Using the repose for Lerato and John, find the maximum value, minimum value, median, lower quartile, upper quartile. Let's start with Lerato, and then after that we'll go to John. Let's do it for 2 minutes. Let's try. These 5 numbers. Maximum, minimum, median, lower quartile, upper quartile. Let's try that. Well done, grade 10s. We have some questions about the meaning of the upper quartile Q3 from Londula Secondary School. Thank you very much for your questions. Right, let me just try to explain. Let's say this box represents the data set. Okay, we will have our minimum value here, and then we'll have our maximum value there. You see that? So it's from the minimum to the maximum. And then we have the median here, which is Q2, which is going to divide the data set into 2 equal parts, 50% below it and 50% above it. And then we have the lower quartile here, and then the upper quartile there. So we have Q1 here, which is the lower, let me use LQ for lower quartile, and then we have Q3 here, which is the upper quartile. Okay, so if you check the quartiles, there are 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that? So we have the lower quartile there, and then the upper quartile there. Okay, that is the meaning of the quartiles there. I think I've tried to answer that. But as we move forward, we are going to see more things about the quartiles. Let's go to the Lerato. Right, anyone who got the minimum value, let's mark that. The minimum value is 35%. Out of 5 things you must get, this one you must get. What is the maximum value? Okay, we have 2 out of 5. Okay, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 is how many percent? That is almost 40%. It's a lot. Okay, right, and then let's find the median position, which is the 4th value. Which one is the 4th value? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the median, we did it anyway. It was 65%. This is a free mark. And then let's find the lower quartile. We're using the formula. 1 over 4 n plus 1 means the second position is our lower quartile, which is 55%. Right, do you see that? That's our lower quartile. And then we have the upper quartile, and then which is 3 over 4, and then 7 plus 1, n plus 1 there. The 6th position, which is what? Which is 75%, which is this one. So now we have our 5-number summary, right? The minimum value, maximum value, median, lower quartile, and upper quartile. I'm going to give you 1 minute for you to copy this, okay? Right, so that you can use it in the next activity for John when you're finding this 5-number summary for John. Just 1 minute. Try to look at the solution, and then after that we will continue. 1 minute. Right, well done, great tense. I hope you managed to copy the answers there. Now, I want you to try now on your own for John. Let's find our minimum value, maximum value, lower quartile, upper quartile, and the median. The median, we did it, remember? Okay, let's try those 5. Now for John, let's try. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Let's try. Welcome back, grade 10s. Let's see if we manage to do something. Thanks very much for your input. Some people want me to slow down a bit so that we understand, which is very good. Now I'll try to make sure that we move together, and then let's see. We did for Lerato, so now it should be easy for us to get marks for John. Now the minimum value, is it 59%? Let's mark that. Right, you have the maximum value, which is 68%. Let's mark that. And then did you find the fourth position? Okay. And then it is 65%. The median is 65%. Let's mark that. And then the lower quartile, did you find using the formula, or n plus 1 over 4? Did you use that formula? You can get the second position, which is 60% here. 60%. Let's mark that. And then we have the quartile 3, which is the upper quartile, and then we're using even 3 and then n plus 1 divided by 4 to get the position, and then we found 6. Okay, just put this thing in the calculator as it is. And then the sixth position is 67, which is this one. Did you get that? Let's mark that. Now I'm going to give you another minute to look at the solution. If you want to write a few notes, you can do that for the next minute, and then we continue with our lesson. Let's try. Welcome back, grade 10s. I hope you managed to write a few notes there that are going to assist you when you are preparing for your examinations. Right, now, the box and whisker. That's the last part of our lesson. The 5-number summary can be analyzed graphically using a box and whisker plot. Right, it means the maximum value can be represented on a box and whisker, the minimum value and the lower quartile, upper quartile, and the median. This is how you do it. I'm going to show you it now. Okay, so box and whisker plot showing the 5-number summary for test 1. Right, this is an example. It may not be clear here, it says test 1 there. Right, this is an example of a box and whisker. Do you see the whiskers? Okay, so this is where you find your minimum value. So in this case, our minimum value is 3. Okay, there's a box and the whiskers. And then we have the maximum value. I'm starting with what we started with. We started with the maximum value, minimum value, median, and then we went to quartiles, right, which is 21. So the maximum value is 21. And then we had the median. It's just an example, which is 12. You see, that's the median mark there. And then what is the lower quartile? Where do you think we can find the lower quartile? Where do you think? Okay, this is where the lower quartile is. And then the value there is 6. And then this is where the upper quartile is. The value is what? Is 16. This is the 5-number summary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The minimum value, the lower quartile, the upper quartile, the minimum value, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum value. That's the 5-number summary. It can be represented graphically using what? The box and whisker plot. Okay, right, now, and then the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile is called the interquartile range. So in this case here, our interquartile range, do you see that? IQR, interquartile range, is going to be 16 minus 6, which is 10. Do you see that? That's the interquartile range. Q3 minus Q1. Okay, right now, Busi is in the same grade with Lerato and John. Busi's 5-number summary is as follows. The minimum value is 20, the lower quartile is 35, the median is 52, the upper quartile is 60, the maximum value is 80. I want you to try just one more activity, then the rest I'm going to explain. One more activity. I want you to try to draw the the box and whisker diagram using this scale. Okay, you don't need to draw the exact, just 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Use the scale and try to plot these 5 numbers, okay, on the box and whisker and see if you're going to get it. Let's try that just for 2 minutes, then we continue and conclude our lesson. Let's try that. Right, welcome back, grade 10s. Let's see if you manage to draw a nice box and whisker. Right, remember our WhatsApp line 064-748-8913. Right, I'm going to be answering your WhatsApp questions as we move on. Right, now the minimum value is 20, so I'll put my line there, okay? And then the lower quartile is 35, I'll put my line there. The median is 52, then I'll put my line there, 52. And then the upper quartile is 60, I'll put a line on 60 there. And then the maximum value is 80, then I put my line there. Again, then I can draw my box and the whiskers. Then the box will look like this. And then we have the whiskers there. That's the box and whisker. Do you see that? So we have our minimum value, which is 20. We have our lower quartile, which is 35. We have our median, which is 52. We have our upper quartile, which is 60. And then we have our maximum, which is 80. That's a box and whisker. Our 5-number summary has been what? Represented graphically. Using what? Using a box and whisker. Okay? Right. Now, I can give you a box and whisker and ask you now, what is the maximum? What is the minimum? What is the lower quartile? What is the upper quartile? You must know these things, okay? Right, calculate the interquartile range. What did you say the interquartile range is? We say what minus what. Can you try that for 30 seconds? Calculate the interquartile range. What is it? Even without doing it, you can answer verbally. What is the interquartile range? It's what minus what? Interquartile range is 60 minus 35. So 60 minus 35 is what? Okay, it is what? What is the answer? 25%. So that is the interquartile range. That is the interquartile range. Okay? Right. Now I'm just explaining the rest because we're left with 7 minutes. Right, what percentage, answering question D, what percentage of data lies between the lower quartile and the upper quartile? What percentage of data lies between these and that. We say the quartiles divide the data set into 4 equal parts. So it means we have 25% there, we have 25% there, we have 25% there, and then we have 25% there. Okay, you see that? Now, it means between the two quartiles, quartile 1 and quartile 3, how many percent is that? It will be 25% plus 25%, which is 50%. So 50% of the data lies between Q1 and Q3. Okay, let's say we want to analyze that, we want to get rid of the outliers. Okay, I'm looking at the marks, I want to get rid of the marks that are very low and the marks that are very high. I want to concentrate on the meekly 50%. I can, what? Analyze the data between quartile 1 and quartile 3, which is 50% of the data. Okay, right. Now, calculate the semi-interquartile range. Remember this. I haven't talked about this, but remember it. There's nothing difficult about it. The semi-interquartile range, just divide your interquartile range by 2. Divide your interquartile range by 2, then you get your semi-interquartile range. Our interquartile range was 25, then you divide it by 2, then you get 12,5. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write this formula for semi-interquartile range and the answer, so that you what? You remember this. Just 30 seconds. Let's try to do that. Right, I hope you managed to write something, cretins. Let's continue. I know most of you, you're well behaved. Continue doing that. Keep it up. Doing excellent work. You find that you're going to enjoy for the rest of your life. Right, now, comparing the 5 number summary for Lerato and John, we've talked about this. Right, we said that the median for the 2 was 65, and we could not conclude, we could not summarize the data by using the measure of central tendency only. So we had to use the measures of spread. In this case, we have the range and the interquartile range. These are the measures of spread. And then based on these two, we can see that the IQR, the interquartile range for John is 7, lower than that for Lerato. Then the range for John is 9, lower than that for Lerato. So we can conclude and say John performed better, because all his marks are around 65%. But for Lerato, there's a mark which is very low, which is 35%. You see that? Now, and then we'll see, obviously, she's the worst performer here, because her average, the median is 52%. So you see that? So now, these two, we cannot conclude using the median only because they're the same. Let's look at the measures of spread. So to get a good picture about data, you must have the measures of central tendency and the measures of spread. Then you can summarize your data nicely. Okay, right. Now, using Lerato's 5 number summary, represent the 5 number summary on the box and whisker, calculate the interquartile range and calculate the semi-interquartile range. I'll just do this one fast, and then we conclude. We have done this activity, just the same thing. Okay, these are the 5 numbers we are talking about. Let's just do that. Right, 35 is there. Then 85 is there, 65 there, 55, that is the lower quartile. What am I doing here? We have 35 for the minimum, 55 for the lower quartile, sorry. This is 55 for the lower quartile, and then 65 for the median, this is the median, and then 75 for the upper quartile, okay? And then the maximum is 85. This is the maximum. Then I can draw my box. You see that? That's the box. And then the whiskers. Okay? Right. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, just listen to me now. You cannot be writing because it's going to delay us. Just listen. We have done this, so it's sort of revision. Okay? Right. This is the box and whisker for Lerato. And then that's 35%, 55%, 65% the median. And then the upper quartile, 75%, and the maximum, 85%. That's the 5 number summary. And then now calculate the interquartile range. It will be the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. Don't forget that these are easy marks. So 75 divided by 50, sorry, 75 minus 55 is 20%. So that's the interquartile range. And then what is the semi-interquartile range? What did you say? Divide your interquartile range by 2. So it's going to be 20 divided by 2, which is 10%. That's the semi-interquartile range. Okay? Right. So we have done a lot under these two topics, the measures of central tendency and the measures of spread. Okay? Right. Now, I want to check if we have any WhatsApp questions, but we try to cover a lot of questions during the lesson. Let's see. Right. Okay. I think all the questions have been answered. Thank you very much. The teachers here, they've assisted us when we're trying to what? To answer the WhatsApp questions. Where are my slides? I'm looking for my slides now. I can't find them. Where are they? Oh, here. Right, okay. This is activity 2. Let's go there. And then let's summarize. The range is the difference between the largest value and the smallest value. That's the range there. Okay, quartiles divide the data set into 4 equal parts. And then the interquartile range is the difference between the upper quartile and the lower quartile. And then the semi-interquartile range is half the interquartile range. So divide the interquartile range by 2. You see that? Right. I really hope that grade 10s you have benefited from this lesson. And you're going to get all the marks when it comes to this topic. Because in our next topic, we're going to be doing something else. Okay. Right. The box and whisker illustrates the 5-number summary graphically. We have talked about that. Don't lose marks on the 5-number summary. Okay. Right. Remember to complete to press complete to show that you've completed the lesson at the end. And then our next lesson, we're going to look at Euclidean geometry, and then we're going to look at the midpoint theorem. It is very, very important. This theorem is very, very important. If you think of missing this lesson, then you're going to have a problem with your Euclidean geometry in grade 10. Okay, it's very, very important. The last 2 lessons, we're going to be looking at this, the midpoint theorem. Let's meet in our next lesson, grade 10s, and I really hope that you're going to enjoy the rest of your day. Okay, take care of each other. Remember that. Remember that. Respect adults. It's very, very important. And even respect your colleagues. Okay? Right. And then remember to sanitize, to social distance, and to always wear your mask. Take care of each other. Goodbye.